screen clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good. Now see, this is the entire syllabus, and the questions can come from anywhere. So we cannot leave any of the topics. Even the last unit is very much important. The last unit is very easy and small.
Okay.
Fine.
Yes,
And
sir.
the first unit is the largest one. Anyway, yesterday we have seen so many things, like we have seen phases and passes.
Yes, sir.
All these things we have seen. We have seen interpreter, we have seen assembler,
Yes.
then compiler design. I am proceeding further now. Then we have seen this was the these are the phases of compiler. Fine. One of the questions are sure to come from this phases of compiler. So these phases of compiler are divided in two parts: analysis and synthesis part. In analysis part, now see what happens in this case. Similar wise, whenever, because further we are going to see p hole further optimization. So we are going to cover all, we are always going to follow such step. Like we have the source code in the lexical analyzer. What it is going to do, it is going to scan the entire part. Then the syntax analyzer is known as the parser, in which it is generating the tree. Fine. In the semantic analyzer, what we are going to do, what it happens,
Meaning check करता है.
it is the meaning of the program. Fine.
Oh, so yes, sir.
Then we have intermediate code generator. So we have to just understand how this compilation is working. It is just a small story. Fine. Just you write the program and then how the entire compilation is being working. Now proceeding further, we have seen the block diagram, front and back ends, just like the first four phases of compiler in the front end. Fine. The front end of the compiler includes all analysis phases and the intermediate code generator, while the backend includes the code optimization and final code generation phases. The front end analysis, the source program produces the intermediate code. Fine, we have already seen all these things. Now proceeding further, we were working on lexical analyzer. We have seen what is this lexical analyzer. This is scanner. That is, it is going to scan each and every word, character of the program. Then it is going to remove the comments, and then it is going to remove the spaces.
Yes, yes. Okay, sir.
Fine. Now proceeding further, we have seen syntax analyzer, that is the parser, how the syntax tree is being made, and from there we get the further processing. For further proceeding, it is after generating the tree, then it is proceeded to the semantic analysis.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now proceeding further, we have seen semantic analyzer. All these things we did yesterday. Fine. Intermediate code generator, we are also going to revise these things because these things are very much important. Yesterday we were seeing how, what is the static storage, dynamic storage and global storage. That was the last topic we discussed yesterday. Then we had the code generation. In the final code generation, we have seen, now when we get the mnemonics of the assembly code in this book, what it is, it has considered assembly language as the machine language or low level language. Fine. In some of the books, it is considered as middle level language.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Now what happens? These are the mnemonics, so which are being generated as the final code. Now the next part is the p-hole optimization. Fine. Yesterday I downloaded one of the last year questions. I'm just going to show you. Last year question paper was there. Let me see if it is there. I don't remember where I saved it. Okay, fine. I'm just going to check it again. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Now anyway, now let me proceed further. That is the p-hole optimization. Now we are going to have a brief look about what is p-hole optimization. Optimization, what is optimization? It is just the shortening of the code. Just like, for example, we have for loop. For loop is a type of optimization of the code. Fine. Now p-hole optimization is further optimized codes by p-hole optimizer. Now in this process present is a more sophisticated compiler. Fine. Now the purpose is to produce is more efficient object program that can be executed in shorter time. Optimization is performed at a local level and it takes advantage of certain operator properties such as commutative, associative and distributive. Now this is the properties by which p-hole optimization works. Now, what is commutative, associative, and distributive? You remember these terms come from
Discrete mathematics से में था.
mathematics. Just like we have a plus b, then it becomes ab, then ac. If ab equals to cd, then ad equals to ac. Somehow these all these things comes under the commutative and associative and distributive. Fine.
Okay, sir.
So further, what is p-hole optimization? That means it is further processing the further optimizing the code. Now proceeding further, see this is the block diagram, how it is working. Exactly we are just going to see how the entire set of codes is being compiled. Now in the first part you can see the text source. Can you see the screen clearly? I have also shared the entire book with you. Fine.
Okay, sir.
This is the text source because this is the book of UPTU. Fine. So the questions and entire pattern matches from this. What is
Yes,
this?
sir.
This is the text source. That means this is the source code. From the source code, it is going to the input converter. Input converter, that means whatever input we have given, it is going to proceed further. Now, whatever it has, it is going to proceed further. It is going to read it in a stream. Just like you see, you can see it is a set of arrays. Fine. In the array, all the characters, all the digits are being stored, and one by one everything is being scanned from that.
Yes,
This
sir.
is known as head. That means one by one character, all the characters are being scanned from the scanner. Now proceeding further, then it goes to further, it is further identifying what is the keyword or what is function or what is method in that. Fine. This is what it is, token stream. Now proceeding further, parser. What is the parser? You remember that means we were drawing the tree. Are you
Yes, sir.
getting? See, this is the parser. We have the syntax analyzer. What is the syntax analyzer? In this, we are getting the overall structure of the program. In overall structure of the program, that means it is drawing the tree. What is tree? Tree is showing the flow of the program. That means how the program is going to run. What are operators? What are numbers? Now see, when the tree is being made, now in the tree you can see the operators are always the root and numbers are the endpoints.
Leaf nodes. Yes,
Numbers
sir.
are the endpoints. Numbers are
Yes,
the
sir.
endpoints. So this is what it is going to let the system understand how the numbers are there and what are the operators and whom to divide and where to store the final result. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now in p-hole optimization we are just following the same part. In the parser, what is parser? It is making the abstract tree. What is abstract? Abstract means hiding the internal details and showing the essential features. Abstract tree, that means it is just going to draw everything. Then from abstract tree it is producing further processing to optimizer. That means shortening of the tree. After shortening of the tree, it is proceeding to the code generator. That means we are just after shortening up, the code is ready to process. Fine. Now when code is ready to process, from here it is moves to p-hole optimizer, and from p-hole optimizer we get optimized object code. That means more easier and more accessible to a more fast execution for this. Are you getting it? Did you get it? How it works with the p-hole optimizer?
Yes, sir.
P-hole optimizer is further optimization of the codes. Fine, and it uses the three properties, that is commutative, associative, and distributive.
Distributed. Yes, sir.
Fine, very good. Now, the last part of this chapter, first chapter is error handler. The last chapter and questions are completely theoretical going to come from this. That means what is error handling, how it is going to work. Detection and reporting of errors in a source program is the main function of the compiler. That means compiler has to identify any type of error in the program. Now error may occur at any phase of compilation. A good compiler must determine the line number of program exactly where the errors have occurred. Now let us see the first various errors which may occur at different levels of compilation. Now the first, these are lexical errors. Lexical errors, that means at the time of scanner. This is the first part of the compiler. That means it is going to scan. Some of the most common types here consist of illegal or unrecognized characters. Now what happens sometimes, I do not know. Suppose I'll tell you one thing. I used to work in a German company. Fine.
Yes, sir.
There we were working on to make a convert a file from text file to PDF or from PDF to Word file. Fine. So when we were when suppose you can see that the first character of this line is T, but when the system is going to read it, system will not read it T, but it will also read so many illegal characters that are not in the file, that you cannot see, but these are hidden in the file. Fine.
Yes. Yes,
So
sir.
these are, so in the first part, some of the most common types here consist of illegal and unrecognized error. What are illegal and unrecognized errors? These are present in the file. Suppose when I remember that जब मैं उसे read करता था, I used to read it and then I used to display it. I used to find that so many other characters were also read. So from where these characters came? These characters are hidden in the file.
Yes,
Fine.
sir.
Now, mainly, proceeding further, mainly caused by the typing errors. A common way of this to happen is for the programmer to type a character that is illegal at any instance in the language and is never used. Finally, quite commonly, another type of error that scanner may detect is undetermined character or string constant. This happens whenever the programmer types something in quotes or forget the trailing quote. Again, these are most typing errors. Fine. So, पहला error क्या था? The first, what is the work of the first? That means identifying the illegal and unrecognized characters. This is the first function of error and detection of
Yes.
compiler. Now, proceeding further, we have the second class of errors. What are the second class of errors? These are the syntactic error. That means syntax error and is caused by the parser. What is parser? Parser was the second phase of compiler in which we were making the structure of the program and we were making a tree.
Tree.
Fine. Now, in this syntactic error, these errors are most common error. The really difficult part is to decide from where to continue the syntactical analysis after the error has been found. What happens if the parser is not carefully written, or if the error detection and recovery scheme is sloppy? The parser will hit one error and mess up after that and concast spurious error messages all throughout the rest of the program. In case of an error, what one would like to see happening is to have the compiler skip the improper tokens, continue detect errors without generating error messages that are not really an error but a consequence of first error. Now, in the second class of errors, these are the errors which are not the errors, but these are created by the previous errors. Fine. In the first
Yes, sir.
phase of error, we found that there were removal of illegal characters. So presence of illegal characters create the second class of error. That is why it is known as second class of error. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Now proceeding further, the third type of error. The third type of error is the semantic in nature. Semantic, that means meaning. The semantics that are used in computer languages are by far simpler than the semantics that are used in spoken languages. This is the case because in computer languages everything is very much defined. There are nonsenses implied or used. The semantic errors that may occur in a program are related to the fact that some statements may be correct from syntactical point of view, but they make no sense and there is no code that can generate it or carry out the meaning of the statement. Semantic errors, that means some of the codes when we write that has got no meaning but still are inside the program. So mostly many times when you write the program we get warning of this. That means you have defined this variable and character and you have used nowhere in the program. Fine.
Yes, sir.
That means it is the syntax is correct, but there is the code is giving no results in that case. Fine. So that is known as in the third type of error is known as the semantic in nature. Now proceeding further for the fourth type of error which we encounter during code optimization is the control flow analysis. What is control flow analysis? That means in which flow our program is moving. There may exist some statements which can never be reached. Fine. So in such case we get the compilation error. That means such set of codes you have written and it's never used when you work. Fine.
Yes, sir.
I remember while I was working with .NET, Microsoft Visual Studio, then we used to get such type of warnings and compilation error. Fine.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Now proceeding further, the fifth type of error may occur during the code optimization, during code generation. Since in code generation, architecture of computer is also play an important role. Now, for example, there may exist a constant that is too large to fit in the word of the target machine. This is the fifth type of error. That means which appears during the code generation. And what happens? It applies to the architecture of the system. And suppose a variable or character is there which is going to use more and extra memory. So in that case such type of errors are being identified. Many times on our system we get that uh, no more spaces left. That means some application in our system is using extra and unknown memory. Fine. So this is the work of the compilation process. Now, in sixth type of error may encounter when compiler try to make symbol table entries. What is symbol table? Symbol table is one of the phase of compiler which is attached to all the phases of compiler and it keeps tracks of everything. So sixth type of error is there when the compiler try to make the symbol table. That means it is extracting all the symbols from the program. For example, there may exist an identifier that has been multiple declaration with contradictory attributes. That means if we declare single variable more than once, then we get such type of errors. Fine, Rishabh, do you have any
Yes,
questions
sir.
still here? We have seen, right now we have seen uh, the error handler.
16. Yes, sir.
So the responsibility of error handler is to identify different errors. What type of errors? We have seen six type of errors. The first one was of the lexical scanner errors. That means it is going to identify the illegal and unrecognized characters.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Fine. Now in the second class was that syntactic error. That means it was these are the errors which are created by the previous lexical errors. Third type of error are the errors which make no sense in the program but are still there. Now in the fourth type of error which occurs during the optimization, that means some type of codes which can never be reached. In fifth type of error, which occurs during the code generation, that means in case of something, a variable or a application which is using too large to fit in the machine. And in the sixth type of error which comes across the communicating with the
Compiler
symbol table
deadlines. Yes,
entries.
sir.
Fine. Now proceeding further, we have the number of different types of compiler passes. It we have multi-pass compiler and one-pass compiler. Now see, when we talk about the multi-pass compiler, what happens when a set of programs pass through compiler and then we get a result? So what we do, again when we get the result, we again pass the set of code to the compiler, then again we compile it, then we again get a new set of code. So again when we get a new set of codes, we again pass that set of code to the compiler. So for the full compiler, this situation comes is known as the multi-pass compiler. Fine. Now let us see what it is. We have already studied the compiler that scan input source code, produces first modified form, then scans the first modified form and produces a second modified form until the object form is produced. Such compiler is called multi-pass compiler. That means when uh, we have got a set of codes. When we try to compile the set of codes, we get results. Then again we pass that set of results with the compiler. Then again we get of results. Then we continue this till the time object is produced. So this is in the case of multi-pass compiler. Each function of the compiler can be performed by one pass of the compiler. Fine. Do you have any
Okay, sir.
questions in this multi-pass compilers?
एक मिनट सर.
Fine. Very good. Now we are proceeding further. For
सर
instance,
वन पास से हो सकता है तो दो पास क्यों करते हैं मल्टी पास में?
ये मल्टी पास में अब मैं आपको बताता हूँ दोनों मल्टी पास और वन पास कंपाइलर्स के दोनों की अपनी अपनी बेनिफिट है. इसमें क्या होता है क्या कि जैसे अब मैं आप ये देखिए यहाँ पे आगे फर्दर कंपैरिजन लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे एडवांटेजेस एंड डिसएडवांटेजेस ऑफ बोथ सिंगल एंड मल्टी पास कंपाइलर. Now what happens? So when we read this, we are going to understand it. Now let us
ओके
first
सर.
read what is single pass compiler. Multi pass समझ में आ गया ना क्या होता है वो?
यस सर.
फाइन. अब हम लोग मल्टी पास देखते हैं, उसके बाद दोनों का कंपैरेटिव स्टडी देखेंगे.
तो जो आपने बुक का लिंक दिया था वो गायब हो गया था. मैंने उसे डाउनलोड भी कर लिया है वैसे, पर वो अजीब सी फाइल एचटीएमएल फाइल बन के आ रही है उसकी.
नहीं नहीं, मैंने सर को पीडीएफ फाइल फॉरवर्ड किया हुआ है.
नहीं सर ने मुझे फॉरवर्ड नहीं करा सर.
मैं एक काम करिए, मैं एक मिनट मैं किस तरीके से कोई भी प्रोग्राम कंपाइल हो रहा है, बस हम लोग ये चीज देखते हैं. पहला हो गया, हमने देख लिया मल्टीपास कंपाइलर्स. फाइन.
यस सर.
उसके बाद हम लोग देख रहे हैं वन पास कंपाइलर्स. दैट मीन्स इससे पहले क्या था कि एक बार कंपाइल होता था, फिर कंपाइल करने की जरूरत पड़ती थी, फिर हमें एक बार और कंपाइल करने की जरूरत पड़ती, तब तक कंपाइल करते थे जब तक कि उसका ऑब्जेक्ट ना बन जाए. अब वन पास कंपाइलर में क्या होता है कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक ही बार हमने कंपाइल किया और हमारा कंप्लीट प्रोग्राम फाइनल आउटपुट आ गया. Fine.
यस सर.
So,
यस सर.
so in a one-pass compiler, when a line source is processed, it is scanned and the tokens are extracted in the first time only. Now then the syntax of the line is analyzed and the tree structure and some tables containing information about each token is built. Finally, after the semantic structure is checked for correctness, the code is generated. The same process is repeated for each line of code until the entire program is compiled. So, usually the entire compiler is built around the parser, which will call the procedures that will perform the different functions. So, these are the entire part. We have already seen in the phases of compiler that what are the phases are being used by the compiler. So, ये all these things, ये सारा चीज क्या है, will be followed by one pass compiler.
यस सर.
Fine. Now proceeding further, we are going to have a look to the advantages and disadvantages of both single pass and multi pass and where it is used.
यस सर.
Now a one pass compiler. Let me share you the screenshot. और इसके जो हमारे नेक्स्ट वाले चैप्टर्स में ये स्क्रीनशॉट नहीं जा पाता है इसमें,
यस सर, नहीं जा पाता सर।
समझ रहे हैं? अच्छा हाँ, कोई नहीं, आप देख पा रहे हैं ना, यू कैन सी द स्क्रीन।
यस सर।
और मैं आपको बताता हूँ इसके बाद जो हमारा चैप्टर्स है, मतलब सेकंड चैप्टर से हमारा डिटर्मिनिस्टिक फाइनाइट ऑटोमेटा है हमारा सेकंड चैप्टर में।
ओके सर, तो पढ़ के आना पड़ेगा पहले।
सॉरी,
वो पढ़ के टैफल पढ़ना पड़ेगा ना पहले, TAFL।
हाँ कोई नहीं, डोंट वरी, ठीक है। तो वो चीज़ है, तो हम लोग आगे फर्दर प्रोसीड करते हैं।
ओके
और
सर।
ये वाला चैप्टर्स ऑलमोस्ट फिनिश है, ये वाले फर्स्ट चैप्टर में हमारा, अच्छा है अभी इसमें टाइम ना। उसके बाद हाँ, वी हैव ऑलरेडी नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू सी द comparative study. Fine. Now a one pass compiler is fast since all compiler code is loaded in the memory at once. मतलब one pass compiler is faster than the multi pass compiler and all the load of codes are memory in single pass.
यस सर।
It can process the source text without overhead of the operating system and having to shut down one process and start another. Also, the output of each pass of the multi-pass compiler is stored on disk and must be read each time in the next pass. Fine. So, in one pass compiler, why what is happening? It is faster. Why it is processed? Because it is loading the entire program at once and it can process the source code without overhead of the operating system. That means it do not need to read the previous set of codes again. But in multipass, what happens after processing, it first needs to read the set of codes again, then it is going to process to the next pass. Now proceeding further, on the other hand, one pass compiler tends to impose some restrictions upon the program, just like constant, types, variables, and procedures must be defined before they are used. So, this is the problem with the one pass compiler. In language C, we have fundamentals of C programming. So, in that we have restrictions. That means in C language, first we have to define the all the variables. Fine. So when we have to define all the variables, what is happening? That is known as the restrictions. So what we understood, that C language have the single pass compiler. Now proceeding further, we are going to have a look to the multi-pass compiler. Multi-pass compiler does not impose this type of restrictions upon the user. That means you can declare the variable anywhere, or even sometimes it is not needed to declare the variables. Now, operations that cannot be performed because of the lack of information can be deferred to the next pass of the compiler. When the next part has been traversed, the needed information made available. Fine. That means suppose some of the things could not be understood by the system in the first part. So it is going to try to read it in the second part. Again it is going to try to read in the third part. So this is a benefit with the multi-pass compiler. That means you do not need to declare the variables in the beginning.
यस सर।
Now we are going to have a look to the components. Now see, the components of a one pass compiler are interrelated and much closer than the components of a multi-pass compiler. Fine. In one pass compiler all the components are closer, and in multi-pass compiler they are having some distance. This requires all the programmers working on the project to have knowledge about the entire project. A multi-pass compiler can be decomposed into passes that can be relatively independent. Hence, a team of programmers can work on the project with little interaction among each of them. And each pass of the compiler can be regarded as mini compiler, having an input source written in one's intermediary language and producing the output written in another intermediary language. Fine. Now, what
यस
is the in the components of one pass compiler? They are interrelated and very close. But in case of multi-pass compiler, they are independent, and many programmers can work on it. So in this case, we have seen two benefits of multi-pass compiler and one benefits of single pass compiler.
Yes, sir.
Now see, the target architecture of computer, these things are not very much important, because when I was checking the syllabus,
Yes, sir.
see, I'm just sharing the syllabus. Can you see the syllabus? In the syllabus
Yes,
we
sir.
have done this passes bootstrapping. What is bootstrapping? It is self compilation process. I'm just going to show you what that means. If the bootstrapping, it is a method to produce the self-hosting compiler. That means a compiler whose source code is written in the language it compiles. Now, for example, C compiler written in C language, Pascal compiler written in Pascal language. So this is known as bootstrapping. But what happens in the beginning? When first a program is developed, always the compilation language is different from the host language. The first
Yes,
Pascal
sir.
compiler was written in Fortran. The first C compiler was written in language B. First Java compiler was written in language C. Fine.
Yes, sir.
So we just saw about this. In the next topic we have finite state machines and regular expressions. Fine, Rishabh. So we are going
Yes,
to
sir.
proceed further to the next chapter now. So when you have the next chapter now, do you have a notebook with you?
Yes, sir.
Are you sitting on system?
Yes, I'm sitting on table and chair. The system भी है. Yes, sir.
Yes, fine, very good. Because now we have to, from the next chapter, we have to note these things down and
Yes,
understand it. Once you understand it, entire numerical becomes easy. Now there is nothing theory. Fine.
yes, sir.
I'm just going through. Have a look to the first chapter. What are the things which are left?
Yes, sir.
I've already given you the notes. Fine. These things are also even not mentioned in the syllabus, but they are inside the book. Just like lifetime of a variable is
Yes, sir.
very important. A variable's lifetime is during the period of time during which the variable exists during execution. Some variables exist during the execution, so that is known as the lifetime of a
Okay.
variable. Then we have an automatic variable's memory allocation is created when the block in which it is declared entered. An automatic variable exists while the block is active. Then we have static variable. What is static? Do you know what is static? In the C keyword also we use.
Yes, sir. स्टैटिक होता है और एक डायनेमिक होता है.
A
डायनेमिक रन
static
टाइम पे चेंज
variable
हो
is a
जाता है और
variable
स्टैटिक चेंज
that
नहीं होता.
exists from the point at which the program begin execution and continues to exist during the duration of the program. Now what is happening with the static keyword? Static means, that means in programming language you do not need an object to call that function. Now when we write the Java programs, we write public static void main. What is a main? Main is a function, and that entire main function we write inside a class. So to call that main function, we do not need the object. That is why it is known as static function. Are you getting it? So that
Yes,
is
sir.
why it tells what is static function. Static function is static variable is that variable that has a always, it will always present during the execution. Now
Yes, sir.
storage of static variable is allocated and initialized once when the program begins the execution. Fine. So these are the global variables. Global variables, that means it can exist, it can store anywhere. Generally it's just like, suppose if I am going to start the count the number of visitors on my web page. Fine. So for that case I am going to use the static variable. Why? Suppose if the first person entered, so it will be added 1, and when he finishes it, it do not have to retrace it, but it has to carry on the previous value. So it is always the global value. That means it has the access to each and every user and counts each and every user. So in that case, it is the static variable. That means the global variable. Fine. Do you have any
Yes,
questions
sir.
till here?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Very good. Now proceeding further. Now see, static variable is different from a global variable because the static variable scope is local to the function which it is defined.
Okay, sir.
Now scope of a variable. Scope of the variable. The scope of a program variable is the range of statements in which the variable is visible. Now what happens? Scope of the variable, we have local variable, we have global variable. So what is local variable? Local variable is variable which is defined inside a function. So the scope of that variable is only inside that function. It cannot be used outside that function. Fine. So it cannot be used outside the function. So that is known as the scope of the variable. So the scope of a program variable is the range of statements in which the variable is visible. Now the
Yes, sir.
variable is visible in a statement which can be referenced in that statement. Now proceeding further, we have the static scope. Now static scope, this kind of scope is associated with the static text of the program. Static text, that means we have static variable and static keyword and function. Static scope can be determined by looking at the program structure. Now proceeding further, we have almost done with the first chapter.
Yes, sir.
Binding. Binding is very important. Yesterday we have runtime binding, we have compile time binding. Fine.
Yes, yes, sir.
Just we are going to have a look to all these things and trying to understand it because we cannot leave any of the topics. Fine. Even there are questions also which comes of around 2 marks, 4 marks can come, and some of the small terms are being carried in the questions, so we cannot move anything. Now when we talk about binding, what is binding? Try to understand it. Now suppose you have written a function addition of two numbers, so when we call that function, it is actually binding that function. That is known as binding. So in this we have runtime binding, and then we have the compile time binding. Then we have now what compile time binding is also known as late binding and dynamic binding. Now what is compile time binding? What happens? Runtime binding. Now see what is the difference between compile time and runtime binding.
रन टाइम बाइंडिंग लेट बाइंडिंग
Suppose
होती है ना इसमें सर?
yesterday I gave you an example of addition of two numbers. So if the user gives two inputs, so the function with two parameters will be called. And if the user gives three input, so then the function with the three parameters will be called. So in this case, nobody knows. Who knows? It depends upon the user. So that is known as runtime. So it is known as late binding. Now see, some bindings are performed at runtime, are called runtime binding. Binding may be performed at compile time and it remains static throughout the program execution. Sometimes programmers and translators also can decide about the binding. Fine, are you getting it? Did you get what is compile time and runtime binding? That means
Yes,
when
sir.
we runtime binding is also referred to as late binding because binding of the code depends upon the input of the user.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Then we have parameters passing methods. We have parameter passing methods. We have pass by value and pass by reference. One of the most important part. These are just the basics. Try to understand it. Do you know what is the difference between pass by value and call by value, call by reference?
ये सर सी में पढ़ा था फर्स्ट ईयर में.
Okay, fine, very good. He is in the first year. Is he from CS branch?
यस सर. आपने कुछ कहा नहीं?
Okay, fine. Now let me one. Now let us proceed further to the parameter passing methods. Do you know what are parameters? Now see. Can you see the screen clearly, Rishabh?
Yes, sir.
Fine, very good. Now on the screen you can see we have a function. We have a function add. Now in this we have 2 to 3. That means we are
Parameters.
trying to call the function, and in this we are passing the parameters in the function. So this is we are passing the actual parameters. What are the actual parameters? We have formal parameters and then we have actual parameters. In actual parameters we are actually passing the direct values. So in this case you can see that we are passing the value. What are the values? 2 and 3.
Yes,
Fine,
sir.
you can see that we have 2, then we have 3. So these are the values which are passing with the function. Now these are the formal parameters. Formal parameters are actually telling
Attributes भी
about
बोलते हैं
the
शायद.
infrastructure or architecture of the type of parameters. So that is why they are known as the formal parameters.
ओके सर,
Now
उनको एट्रीब्यूट्स भी बोलते
proceeding
हैं क्या?
further. Now see, now what is call by reference? Call by reference is actually we are giving the reference. We are not actually passing the value, but we are passing the reference. That means suppose we are passing the address. In this case, ampersand a. You remember yesterday I had explained you that
यस सर.
ampersand a will give the address of a. Then int star ptr or int star x will be holding the address of the value. Do you remember that? Or shall
यस
I
सर.
give you a brief introduction to that?
नो सर, याद है. एड्रेस ऑफ होता है एम्परसेंड से.
Just 1 minute. Ampersand a, are you familiar with the entire set of address part?
यस सर.
Okay, fine, very good. So that means you will be able to, you can see that these are the pass by reference value. That means we are passing actually the address part. Now proceeding further. Now see, we are just going through a bit of, we are just going to make a quick run on the questions. Now just have a look to the first questions of the first chapter. Now, what are the passes of compiler? Explain function of each passes in brief. We have already done this, right?
यस सर.
Now the next part is symbol table is necessary for compiler construction. Justify your statement. Why symbol table is needed? Because symbol table is that phase of compiler which is attached to each and every phase of compiler, and it keep tracks of all the tokens, variables, compilers, and everything. Now the next part is cross compiler. One chapter we missed types of compilers.
यस सर.
Are you
ये
getting
भी
it?
पढ़ाया
One
था, हाँ.
chapter, how is bootstrapping of a compiler done to the second machine? We have already given a brief review to about what is bootstrapping. What is bootstrapping? It is self-hosting compiler. That is known as bootstrapping. Now we are just going to look to a cross compiler. I suppose we missed somewhere.
यस सर, मिस हो गया था.
Actual parameters. I have already explained what are actual parameters. What are formal parameters? Fine. Formal parameters are the functions when we declare a variable. That means int x comma int y. And when we call the parameters, we are passing actually the actual parameters. There are entire one small chapter is there. Types of compilers. Just I'm checking in the book. Fine.
ओके सर, ओके सर.
Okay, fine. That is one small chapter is there. I suppose this is somewhere. It's not in this book. That means different types of compiler is there. Fine, we have already seen one pass compiler.
Yes,
Then we
sir.
have already seen multi-pass compiler. Fine. We okay. Now let us proceed further with the just. I'm just going to have a review about what are the questions. Fine. Now we have seen the translator. What is a translator? We have compiler.
एक मिनट में चार्जर लेके आना लैपटॉप का
Sorry,
चार्जर लेके आना लैपटॉप का
charger.
यस लेके आना एक मिनट के लिए आप रुक सकते हैं थोड़ी देर
हाँ सही है.
ओके सर थैंक यू सर
Okay. Okay.
चार्जर लेना लैपटॉप का
टाइम दे दो.
अरे मोबाइल भी रखा करो, कभी कभी कोई क्वेश्चन पूछेगा तो गूगल पे सर्च करके.
हाँ?
मोबाइल भी रखा करो, कोई क्वेश्चन पूछ दिया ऐसा जो कि नहीं पता है गूगल पे सर्च करके.
हाँ. Yes, ऋषभ. चाय निकाल. हाँ.
यस सर हो गया
Hello. Yes.
हेलो
Yes. Can you hear me now?
यस सर
Fine. Now I'm just going to give you a brief reading about native compiler and cross compiler. There are different types of compiler. One is native. We have अभी तक हम लोगों ने क्या देखा? हम लोगों ने देखा we have one pass compiler, then we have multi pass compiler. Fine.
यस सर
Now we are going to see native compiler and cross compiler. Native compilers are the compilers that generate codes for the same platform on which it runs. It converts high level language. It converts high language into computer's native language. For example, Turbo C to GCC compiler. मैं आपको ये नोट्स आपको चैट बॉक्स में सेंड कर देता हूँ मैं. जस्ट हैव अ लुक टू द चैट बॉक्स.
ओके सर और लास्ट में व्हाट्सएप पे भी बोल दीजिएगा सर को जो भेजने के लिए
हाँ मैं आपको सेंड कर दूंगा. मैंने एक्चुअली सेंड कर दिया हुआ है सर को.
ओके सर
मैं उनको बोलूंगा कि वो आपसे शेयर कर लिया. उनको बोलिएगा कि मुझे सर को मैंने ऑलरेडी शेयर कर दिया है. उनको बताइएगा कि मुझे आप सेंड करें. ठीक है.
ओके सर
ये चैट बॉक्स में जस्ट हैव अ रीडिंग अबाउट नेटिव एंड क्रॉस कंपाइलर बिकॉज वी कैन नॉट लीव एनी टॉपिक.
यस सर
ये नेटिव कंपाइलर क्या होता है? जैसे क्या कि वी हैव टर्बो सी एंड जीसीसी कंपाइलर. ये दोनों कंपाइलर क्या है? ये दोनों कंपाइलर सी के लिए ही यूज होता है.
यस सर
फाइन. वी हैव ऑलरेडी.
फॉर्म क्या होती है सर
And now what is GCC compiler? Generally the GCC compiler we are going to use it for Linux, and for GCC compiler we do not need any header files.
ओके सर
Fine. And for Turbo C compiler we are going to see the single pass compiler, because what is single pass compiler? We have to declare all the variables in the beginning, and the compiler of C is written in C language. Fine.
यस सर
Now proceeding further, then we have the cross compiler. That means now what is the native compiler? We have already seen native compiler. Now we are going to see the cross compiler. A cross compiler is a compiler that generates the executable code for a platform other than on which the compiler is running. Now see, suppose if I have a compiler on my system and it is producing the set of codes for my system, that is known as native compiler. And if my compiler is producing the set of codes for some other system, that is known as the cross compiler.
यस सर
Fine. Very good. Now we are going to proceed further. Now talking about, then we have already seen cross compiler, bootstrapping, translator, discuss the role of various phases of the compiler. We have already seen it. Then suppose you have working C compiler on machine A. Discuss the steps you would take to create working compiler for another language C. Now we have seen the p-hole optimization diagram, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So in the p-hole diagrams we have already seen by seeing the phases of compiler kya all the steps you have to follow. So that
Okay, sir.
steps will need to be elaborated. Plus bootstrap. That means that compiler is done for the same compiler. Now processing further. Next question. Discuss the action taken by every phase of the compiler for the following string. Now see, in this case what is happening? What is the first step? In the first step it is going to scan each and everything. Scanning is mostly done from left to right. From left to right it is going to scan D, E. First it is going to scan E, then slash D, C, everything it is going to scan. After scanning it is going to create the tree. After tree it is going to create the optimized set of codes. Are you getting it? So these steps we have already seen how it is going to follow the steps. Now
Okay, sir.
proceeding further. The difference between syntax and semantics of the language. Also give the example in C language. Now what is syntax? Syntax, that means the grammar of the language, and semantic means meaning of the language. Now when we write any set of code, it has a syntax, then semantic, that means semantic the meaning of the line. Now proceeding further, analyze the programs of any language on the basis of their different programming structure. Now we have already seen there are four structures of programming: lexical, analytical, semantical, then code generation. Are you getting it? So we have already seen these four phases. Now the next part, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of single and multipass compilers. We have already seen this. Now discuss the role of machine architecture of compiler. This was out of the syllabus. So in this structure, that is what we have, the virtual structure than the original system. What it happens, are you getting it? So this was not in our syllabus. Now we are proceeding further to the next chapter.
Okay, sir.
Fine. Do you have any question in this, Rishabh? Now we are
No,
going
sir.
to proceed for the next chapter now. Fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now chapter 2 is very interesting.
Yes, sir. न्यूमेरिकल सेंस में ज्यादा शायद
Yes, the entire, can you